It's not a one-party state, for God's sake. I mean, honestly.
That's ludicrous. And, you know, Albanese and the Labor Party, the best thing they could do is just be quiet and practice what the government has asked us to do, which is to social distance and take various precautions, particularly to protect the elderly and so on. To even come out with the idea of a one-party state refers to countries like China, North Korea, others, where the coronavirus is out of control. So he's actually smearing this government, our democratically elected government, which is doing, as you said, a great job. I think they've been a tad late to the party, but I think they're getting there very quickly, as opposed to genuine one-party states where this problem exists purely because of totalitarian one-party states. So Albo is not only hugely insulting, he's insulting the people of Australia as well.
I mean, Richo, again, it's not a one-party state. I mean, fair income. Like, there are plenty of Labor leaders around, and I get it. An opposition leader is always going to pop up and try and find a way to punch here. He's doing it multiple times a day, and even being a smart aleck in his ridiculous address to the nation that we had to sit through on Sunday night. I know you're a Labor man, I know you like Albo, but do you agree sometimes the government is allowed to be the government?
I think Albo could have been a little quieter today than perhaps he was, and I would advise him to remember that, because this is one time when the government really does have to govern. That having been said, I hope that the Prime Minister does do a little bit of consultation with him, certainly keeps him in the loop. I think he's entitled to be in that position. This isn't, as you say, a partisan issue. This is one of the biggest issues faced in our lifetimes, and I think that at least requires the opposition being kept in the loop.
Well, the thing is that by all reports they are. I mean, they're getting their briefings, all the rest of it. Of course, Albo chose not to go to one of them because he wanted to have photos with footballers in federal parliament. The thing is that there are times when you have to say, look, about when the parliament comes back, about the economic stimulus, but when all of the state premiers are sitting around and you want to walk out and tell people what's happening, there are things you will inform an opposition about, and there are things they're going to learn on telly too, Richo.
Yeah, there are things they're going to learn on telly, but there are also issues that are really ought to be above party politics. You can't, to me, a massive health issue like this, which has the potential to do enormous damage, should just be something the Prime Minister and the Cabinet keep entirely to themselves. That's ridiculous.
No, and the
on
premiers.
Something as big as this.
But it's different.
Something as big as this, you at least let Albo have a say. I mean, that's not... I mean, Paul, I know you don't like him having a say in anything. I mean, one thing about it, no one will call you each way Murray, that's for sure.
Correct.
One way.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it'll always be, and it's why people come back every night. Jenna, again, the time to play politics, I get it. But the attempts to make it bushfires 2.0 are not going to work. They're going to rebound on Albanese. And the truth is that could you imagine the cluster of the Prime Minister, the opposition leader, the Premier and the opposition leader of every state, of every territory, all being allowed to sit around when only half of the room is actually empowered to action a decision, and the other half will be taking notes so they can ring their favourite journalist and say, "You'll never believe what the Premier of Queensland suggested."
Yeah, this sort of rings true to me from a personal point of view, as what a lot of friends tell me. It's like, Darl, sit down, it's just time to be a bridesmaid. Like, this is not your time to shine. The fact that Scott Morrison is consulting with the Premier of this state, who is Mark McGowan, he's a Labor man, they have a very good relationship. Mr McGowan was very happy with how the National Cabinet has been rolling out thus far. So Albo just needs to, rather than just try and get his mug on television, why don't you actually be an opposition leader, like Tony Abbott was? Go roll your sleeves up, mate. Go and volunteer to call people to make sure that they're okay when they're in self-isolation. Go and help elderly people when they need to pick up some groceries. Go and do that type of stuff, so then your face gets recognised to your constituents. So when 3 years rings around, people will go, "Oh, that's right, he actually helped out," rather than just getting his mug on TV.
Yeah, excellent point. But also worth noting here too...
Give me a break. This is the same bloke who was out there making sandwiches for the bushfire fighters. Just remember that.
While he wasn't playing politics, but invited TV cameras along.
I hope he was wearing, Richard, I hope he was wearing his gloves
Mate.
when he was making the sandwiches,
how do you not have cameras there when you're at the centre, the actual headquarters? How's there not going to be a camera in a bushfire?
They were up the road and brought specifically for his appearance.
But you're being a bit over the top.